Hey, welcome back, everybody. Tom Libby here again, co-founder of Smarketing CONNECT, and you're watching our podcast again today. And we're certainly glad that you're here and glad that you're with us. Today, my guest is Wendy Sullivan of Blue Shutters Design, Blue Shutters Web Design. I, as always, won't do a lot of the introduction. I'll let Wendy introduce herself, and we'll get kind of right into it with the first question. So, Wendy, in a few sentences, tell us who you are and what you do.
Okay. Obviously, my name is Wendy. I am a web designer, and I have started out in the corporate world as a product manager for a web product. And that basically put me on the side of the clients, telling my developers what I wanted a website to do. And I went back to school. I went to UMass Lowell and earned a degree in information technology so that I could be on the other side and I could build the websites. So that is one of the value adds that I bring to my clients. As I've been on both sides, I can work on the design itself, the functionality, and how you want a website to look. I'm used to developing those plans, and now I'm also on the other end and taking those written documents or verbal documents and translating it into either the HTML code, or if I'm using WordPress or Weebly, I can use their web builder systems, and I manipulate their different blocks and everything to create what you end up seeing for your website.
Wow, that seems like an awful lot. So to say that you're just a website builder is probably minimalistic at best, right?
Uh, yeah, but that's really kind of what people start looking for. There's definitely more involved. And as I meet with clients and I talk about what it is that they either have for an existing website or what they want in a new one, all of those details start to come out, and I can draw on the different experiences to create that full picture for them.
Awesome. So in that, I guess the next question being, everybody uses websites, I would imagine at this point. So what types of companies or what types of size or companies do you typically work with?
I work with the really small people. I like to work with people that you associate with the trades, landscapers, plumbers, electricians, because those guys and ladies, they are out there. They're
Sure.
out working all the time. I mean, if you're a homeowner and you've tried to schedule something, sometimes it's hard to get somebody because they're busy working, and they do need their websites, but where are they going to fit it in? They don't want to sacrifice their time anymore with their family. So that's why they should hire me. And I will work with the smaller companies, the solopreneurs. Maybe they have 2, 3, 10 different people. Definitely, that's where my focus is. That's where I like to talk to people one-on-one, and they can just spill over a cup of coffee, and I'll take the notes, and then I will make a little flow document for them and walk them through. So they just have to look at things and say yes, no, and move on. It's really quick for them.
So my understanding, hearing you right, so it's really what we would consider so either micro or mom and pop kind of companies. Those are the types of companies that you enjoy working with most.
Yes, definitely.
Perfect. All right. So here's a good question. I like this question because it really kind of puts our experts on the spot to help the masses of small businesses that we talk to. And it's all about tools, right? So we all use multiple tools in our toolbox when we're running our own businesses, but each of us has our favorites. So Wendy, and yours, what is your must-have tool for small businesses, and why do you want to and why would you employ that or deploy that? Sorry.
My tool is actually decidedly low tech. I'm a paper planner person. I do use Google Calendar and I'll use my phone for reminders, but for me, it's a planner. Whether if you're an electronic planner, that's fine. It's just whatever you're actually going to use. It helps me keep focused. I can see the month at a glance, or I can, flip the page and see what I'm doing that individual day or week, and just helps me tie everything together. And I try to avoid loose ends that way. It's always going to happen. We're human. But I try to limit that. And for me, I feel less stressed with the planner because I can see everything has their slot and I can see how it's going to fit in. And, when life's bumps and bruises come along, it's easier to move things if you see it in one big visual, at least for me. I know some people really like the electronic stuff, and I'll use that to put in reminders as I go through, and I'll plan my week and say, okay, look at my monthly planner, see what's coming up that week, add the reminders digitally so that they come up, and just move on from there.
So just a paraphrase, right? So from your perspective, it's some sort of time management system, whether it's a daily planner on pen and paper, an electronic planner on a calendar, something like that. When it comes to some sort of time management structure for yourself.
Absolutely.
Very cool. That's probably my favorite answer so far. I'm just kidding, everybody. All the guests before, I won't say that. So this question might seem kind of blatantly obvious for us because of what you do, but I'd like to see if maybe we can expand on it. When somebody asks you, or when I ask the question of what challenge or challenges do small business owners bring you in to solve, I think the simpler version of this is, I need a new website. I hire Wendy, I get a new website. But I think there needs to be more than that to it for you. Is that correct? Or how
Yeah.
else would you answer the question?
I give them time back in their day, because once they hire me, the time that they would have spent to either create the website or maintain the website, they can now use how they see best, whether it's time with family, whether it's, doing other back of the office type work that they may have to do, invoicing if they haven't outsourced that, or taking on another client. It's just they get time back in their day where they don't have to worry about it.
Actually, again, probably one of my other favorite answers, Wendy. Because again, like I said, I mean, it seems blatantly obvious, right? You're a website builder, and it seems like, well, somebody calls me in because they need a new website, but I'm assuming there's more depth to it than that for a lot of people, and that's a great answer.
Right. And a lot of people, I mean, they can go and they can make their own website, and they can make a great one, even if they, use WordPress, Wix, Weebly. A lot of them are drag and drop. You
Yeah.
can get a really nice looking website, but there's still a learning curve and there's still time associated with it. And it's, one of those things that can be handed off to somebody else if, you want to do something else.
Very good point. Very good point. So this again is another question that I've been asking in a bunch of different types of ways, right? So I don't know, in your perspective, rather than just read it, I'd rather just ask you. You get people ask for advice from a lot of different people, and a lot of times they'll go to people they're already working with and say, "Do you know somebody that does X or Y or Z?" Right? And then you give referrals to people. Rather than just giving somebody a referral, what would you say to somebody if you didn't have the referral, but somebody was looking to bring in a consultant of some sort in the sales or marketing realm? What kind of advice would you give to your business owners in in order to hire them or bring them in?
On the marketing side specifically, whether it be digital or other, if you're doing mailings, the question that I would ask the person would be, how successful have they been with businesses in your particular industry? One problem that I know I have run up against is I'm looking for advice or strategies to market my business, and I find a lot of information for people that are in the photography business,
Yeah.
or a floral business, and those are fantastic businesses, but I'm going to have a different target audience, and I want to make sure that who I hire is able to work with the type of audience that I'm going to be looking for.
So very audience specific.
Yes.
Even if it's across verticals, you want to make sure that the audience that they've worked with in the past has been the same.
Correct.
Got it. Understood. That's a great piece of advice too. Okay. So Wendy, this is easily my favorite question, and everyone kind of laughs at it, but we all have a good time with it. And the reason I ask it is because I want everybody out there to understand that we're human too, and we can have it, and we can joke a little bit, and we don't take life so seriously that we can't ask a silly question. So the silly question I ask you, Wendy, is if you could be a superhero, who would it be and why?
This is actually the hardest question for me to answer because I'm not really a huge superhero person. So I actually farmed out the question to get some responses. I have a 7 and a 9-year-old, and they both told me that I would be Wonder Woman because I make them tell the truth.
Excellent.
And so I was like, all right, well, that's good. And so then I asked my husband, and he said he had trouble with it, and he went through a couple of different ones, and he finally settled on Captain Marvel because he said I'm very resourceful and a person that people go to when they have questions, and they just, even if they don't think I have the answer, they come to me anyway to talk through their problems. And that he's like, I don't know what your weakness is. And it's a very sweet thing of him to say.
Well, he's your husband. That's a good
It
husband.
is. So I guess I'm going to go with Captain Marvel.
All right. I like that. All right. That's the first one. That's the first one so far of
Okay.
Captain Marvel. All right. So I think this is the last like real question here for us, but it's an opportunity for you to talk a little bit about somebody that maybe you've worked with in the past, somebody that that you've used or leveraged their expertise in the past. But what we're looking for is, who you think our audience might appreciate as a guest on this podcast in the same sense. So is there any sales or marketing professionals out there that you'd like to give a shout out to and possibly have us reach out to them to be on the podcast?
So one is definitely Kevin Millette. I mean, he has done a lot, and I know I've leaned on him for tips and questions, and been to different events for his various groups, the Friends of Kevin and the B2B networking. And I'm also working with it's a networking group called Team Networking based here in Drake, and it is a membership thing. But right now they've opened it up to small businesses regardless of membership for the Zoom meetings right now. And I just thought that was really a smart move. And I am actually on their sub list. I'm not even a member fully, but they've opened it up. They've, asked all of the members to post things on Facebook and invite other people. So the president of that group is Jack Wang, and he does, his business is Longhorn Financial Capital, I believe. He works with obviously personal finance, and he focuses on getting parents and kids ready for going through the college aid application process.
Very cool. And for all intent, I know Kevin really well, so Kevin might be and I actually have been a guest on his podcast, so maybe he'll return the favor for us. Awesome, thank you. And so here is the last thing we have for Wendy is her contact information. So again, like always, I'm not going to read it for you. It's on the screen. You guys will have plenty of time to kind of write it down while we end out the podcast. But I also always like to ask Wendy, aside from everything that people see on the screen right now, are there any other ways that you can be reached out to, get a hold of? How do people find you other than what's on the screen right now, if any?
Okay. Right now I do Facebook for social media. So far that's been my focus. So you can like my page. It's Blue Shutters WD. Or if you just, type it in the search, you can find the page. And I do motivational tips on like a quote on Mondays, and I do a quote on Fridays, just to kind of break the business week up, really. And I also post when I do my blog, when I post new blogs, which is typically on Wednesdays. I try and keep them short and sweet because we're all busy, and just not overwhelm people with information that's there.
Awesome. And finally, you can find Wendy on Smarketing CONNECT. So if you can't remember any of that, remember nothing else, you can find Wendy on Smarketing CONNECT as well. Well, Wendy, thank you so much. I really appreciated the chat, and I really enjoyed having you on the podcast today. And if there's anything else we can do for you, please don't hesitate to reach out.
All right. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.